we should not work in silos is, for the first time, the International Association of Science Parks is having an international conference in Kenya, and my body, the Konza Technopolis, is coordinating it. It will be held 24th to 27th of September. It will be domiciled mainly at the Kenyatta International Conference Center because it will be big. We are expecting thousands of participants, but there will be occasions to visit Konza Technopolis, which is just 1 hour's drive from Nairobi. The research or the researchers or how much we spend, but really that knowledge that we generate from research, how is it commercialized? How does the research that we undertake impact on the socio-economic development of our people? How does it transform our people and our societies? It's something that we need to reflect about very much. When we talk about, for example, what is happening with Global North and Global South, the impact is always at the thought. Sorry, I was going to mention your name, but I will not. Is that knowledge flows from north to south. Please, let us reflect. Is it possible that you can also have knowledge flowing from south to north? Is it possible? And you know, when you do research, you generate knowledge and so on. Do you have to do research to have knowledge? What about knowledge that we already have, which is underexploited, which we are not using, professors? Because we have a lot of knowledge that we have in food generation, energy generation, how we relate to each other, and so forth. And that knowledge is here. Are we capitalizing on it? Are we spending time to ask ourselves what indigenous and traditional knowledges and technologies do we have which can impact on our societies? I think that is important for us to keep in mind. You know, at one point, I was talking to someone. I will not tell you where. But this particular person had done some studies and he had done research. And he happened to have been somebody from Kenya. But he was doing research out there. This is something that we also must begin to think about. How much, in terms of the flow from south to north, we have a lot of researchers, and this is something that we need to reflect on with the future Africa, the Africa future, is we have a lot of research out there, distinguished academicians and so on. We need to know how much is it that our people are contributing when they are out there. It is important for us. But I think, just so that I end up, I like the idea of engaging with stakeholders, engaging with the private sector, and so forth. It's very important. Because it should not just be, we used to have a head of state called Kenyatta, and he used to have a lot of quotes. And one of them, which I treasure very much, was, by then you were not around, but he said, a lot of people in Kenya, instead of working to generate what they need, they just want to fold their hands, believe in the Bible, go in the coast and sit under the coconut trees, and then they don't even try to pick them. They wait for the mangoes to fall, and so forth. I think it is time, Professor, that we begin to reflect on this and say that yes, we have contributions to make, Yes, the way we conceptualize science, like natural sciences, is something, and I think I am very passionate about ISC, philosophy, and so on, so that we bring on board, okay, social sciences, we bring on board arts, we bring on board, and all of these activities are extremely important, and they are part of science. So I think if we can begin to think like that, so that we ask ourselves, so that what about the sports? Mabora. These are things that we should not ignore. Mabora loves to watch football. You know, you just Friday nights, he just watch it. But I will not tell you the teams. He has funny teams. And then I always ask him, you are spending time watching football Friday night. And these are players out there. What about players in here? And so forth. This is very important. We should also think about, as ISC and as scientists and as key players and private sector, we should also ask ourselves, not only how do we do research, but how do we communicate? How do we train? Professor, this is something that is really for you. Because the way we teach science is the way that somebody tells you this is the way you teach science. Then you develop curriculum. Somebody tells you how to do it. Indigenously, how was it actually done? These are things we need to reflect. And then today, how should we be teaching and communicating in our universities? I think that is very important. Even with the African Academy, we need to ask ourselves, are we doing it right? Monsieur President, I think language also is very important. It's Madame President. This therefore must end by simply saying that this is a fantastic beginning. I think the future is very bright for us, and that future, it will be crafted by us here. It is very important. And that dream is achievable, and we will achieve it if we commit ourselves to ensuring that we utilize science, technology, innovation, but also use other forms of indigenous knowledge to ensure that we achieve the future that we need for our people. And not just us, Prof, it is not our future. It is the future of our future generations. And let me tell you, the world, don't mention this, please, when you go back out there in the north. But the future of humanity will be crafted and will be shaped by the efforts that are being made in South Africa, in North Africa, in Kenya, and so forth. And I think this is something that we must appreciate and know that we have a responsibility here, not only for us, but responsibility for humanity. I know many years ago, this young man here used to fly with helicopters and so on, trying to, you were exploring for minerals. And you know, he exploited. The question is this, and this was over 50, 60 years ago. But that knowledge, Prof, he never, but let's not share it outside this room. That knowledge is still somewhere. We need to ensure that at least we tease it out from you and from others. And therefore the communication of science, and you are so passionate about it, okay, Madam President, let's have a way in which in Africa we are communicating science amongst ourselves and we are collaborating. I want to see a few projects where you, Nakosti, and so on, where NRF in Kenya, NRF in South Africa, do you interact?
She has failed. No, the light touch.
That was with the light touch. So please, what I say with a light touch also. So I just want to appreciate and recognize all of you for your contribution. Please, the future is bright, but we must ensure that we pre-commit ourselves to attain that future, because it's the dream of our people, and we are doing this for future generations, not only in Africa, but globally. Asante sana, Michelle.
Scientists to tell their stories. Sometimes the scientist isn't the best storyteller, and sometimes they need help to tell their story. And as a communicator, I can honestly say that no one has ever asked me to go to CERN and go down to the Large Hadron Collider and do a bit of particle physics, because I would be terrible at it. So we need to work with journalists to tell our stories and to raise our voices. Thank you.
Academy of Sciences, and we're pleased to host, the International Science Council together with my colleagues from NACOSTI and the National Academy of Sciences, the NRF, and all of you. So my president said the academy is there. It's a fantastic, and my board member, Professor Munavu, is one of our board members. It's a fantastic facility that all of us can use. So please, you're welcome to use it.